What's up YouTube, Alien Rides here. Today we are going to be talking about the best PEVs of 2020. These are the PEVs that I rode and reviewed and I loved. I wanted to give a special shout out to all of my channel members, all of my Patreon backers who made this channel possible. Today we're going to be utilizing the Alien Rate system. This is where we judge each PEV on a 10 attribute scale. Let's see which one gets the highest rating. So let's get into it. Subscribe and let's ride. We're starting off with the Emove Cruiser, a portable long-range offering from Emove. At 25 miles per hour, it's not the fastest scooter that we've ridden, but it could be a good option if you don't need to go that fast. For performance, it gets a 2. Range is where the scooter shines, and it mostly gets that range by going slower. Still though, it should let you cruise all day long. For range, we give it a 6 out of 10. It handles just fine, and is built on a proven chassis shared with the Speedway 5. We give it a 5 out of 10 for handling. For fun factor, it gets a 2 out of 10. It's fun, it's just not thrilling in any particular way. For cool factor, it's a really nice scooter, but there's nothing really cool about it in my mind besides the long range. We give it a 3 out of 10. For versatility, you've got suspension, and it folds into a very compact package. We give it a 5 out of 10 for versatility. It's got a pretty standard scooter design, it's white which is cool, but it doesn't really stand out or anything, so for looks, we give it a 5 out of 10. It's got all of the standard scooter features, so we give it a 6 out of 10 for features. While it's built on a fairly proven frame, the same one used on the Speedway 5, a lot can and will go wrong with it, and we give it a quality score of 5 out of 10. Value is 5, overall decent value for your money, but I think they could give you a little bit more. Our first featured ride of 2020 comes in with 44 points. Not bad at all for the Emove Cruiser. For electric wheels, the veteran Sherman reigned king in 2020, offering impressive performance and range. The roll cage was a first for EUCs, and it should offer increased longevity. The veteran Sherman was one of the first EUCs to hit the 50 mile per hour mark. It shows that there's a lot of demand for power EUCs, and I can't wait to see faster ones in the future. We give it a 5 out of 10 for performance. Range is a 7, with a huge 3,200 watt-hour battery pack. Slower riders may be able to get 100 miles or more on the veteran Sherman. Handling is a 7, it carves great, feels great. Personally, I really needed some power pads on it to really take advantage of the power, but some don't need them. I'm currently leveraging Clark pads on the veteran Sherman. Fun factor is an 8. The electric wheel is an extension of your body and is super fun controlling so much power on one wheel. Cool factor is an 8. Riding around on a Gizmo Duck inspired contraption is super cool. Tons of people are going to turn their heads seeing what you're riding and will stop and ask you questions about it. Versatility is a 9. Being super compact, powerful, and all-weather, it lets you get anywhere. You can bring the veteran Sherman to work, a date, the movies, or a restaurant. The veteran Sherman looks good thanks to its roll cage and performance features. I'm not sure about the rear light though, but overall it's a pretty nice looking package. We give looks a 7. Lights in the roll cage are nice. The rear light could be a bit brighter though, and it's missing speakers that some folks like. We give it a 5 for features. Most people think the Sherman is a bit higher quality than other electric wheels out there. Part of it is definitely the roll cage, which will prevent fragile body shells from breaking, like they do easily on other electric wheels. The Sherman scores a 7 out of 10 for quality. With a huge battery and well-built frame, there's a lot of value there for the Sherman. We give it a value rating of 7. Better lighting and speakers may raise the score a bit higher in the future. That gives a total score of 70 points to our favorite electric wheel in 2020, the veteran Sherman. Moving on to the Apollo Pro. Apollo took their previous Pro and set it to ludicrous mode. They leveraged the smart Stormcore controller by LaCroix to create an awesome riding experience. The Stormcore really allows the Ludicrous to accelerate smoothly with tons of torque. We give performance a 5. The Apollo Pro is a fun ride, and definitely one of the scooters that you can ride all day if you had the range. Unfortunately, with only a 21 amp hour battery, you don't have that range yet. It scores a 4 for range. The Apollo Pro handles well. As you can get it into the 40 mile per hour zone, you may want a damper to help steering stability. Off-roading is a breeze thanks to the great suspension. It scores a 6 for handling. It's a fun scooter. The power, the off-roading ability with the dual suspension, though the mid-range performance specs can only justify giving this a 5 out of 10 for fun factor. Cool factor is a 4. The Stormcore makes it a pretty cool scooter on the inside, but not much else stands out. Versatility is a 6. Thanks to the foldability and dual suspension of the Apollo Pro Ludicrous, it's fairly versatile. There's nothing particular about the looks, to be honest. It's a 10X or T10 DDM. Though Apollo does do a really good job with the colors and grip tape, it scores a 3 out of 10 for looks. Most of the features are driven by the Stormcar, which is going to give the scooter a 6 out of 10. Quality is a 5. Overall, a pretty standard quality scooter, backed by Apollo's excellent warranty and customer support. Value is a 3. It is a little bit expensive, but it does use the high quality Stormcar, which isn't cheap at all. This gives the Apollo Pro Ludicrous a total score of 47 points. The Trikke Sp33der is a wild 3-wheeled vehicle rocking triple motors, triple suspension, and triple braking systems. For performance, the Trikke felt pretty solid at 40 miles per hour and scores a 4 out of 10 here. Though lower speed, it does score higher in other categories given its advantages with 3 wheels. Range was not so great with a single battery, but you could bring a second battery with you, either in a backpack or strapping it to the frame. It scores a 3 out of 10 for range. The handling of the Trikke is incredible. The way the Trikke is just glued down in the corners due to its triple wheels is unlike any other electric vehicle. It's super fun to ride with great handling and scores a 9 for handling here. Fun factor is a 7. Super fun carving on a 3-wheeled vehicle is like skiing on pavement without paying for the lift tickets. Being such a unique and cool looking vehicle, it scores a 7 for cool factor. It catches a lot of attention when you're riding it, and I always get stopped to ask questions about it. Versatility is a 4. The Trikke can ride on pretty much anything due to its 3 wheels, but it's also quite large and heavy and not nearly as portable as some other PEVs we reviewed. I'm honestly not sure how to rate the Trikke for looks. It's definitely a very unique ride and might be a 10 out of 10 in a comparison with only 3-wheelers, but in a competition with all PEVs out there, I think we'll give it a 5 out of 10 for looks. Not many vehicles come packed with as many features as the Trikke does. Lights, hazards, horns, turn signals, even a cell phone holder. The Trikke scores a 9 out of 10 in the feature department. We gotta give the Trikke a high score for quality as it's used for enterprise applications like law enforcement vehicles. I think it's a very high quality vehicle and it's going to last you a long time. It scores an 8 out of 10 for quality. We are going to take some hits on value as the Trikke is quite expensive. I think we're going to need to see a bit more power and range to get a higher score here. That gives us a total score of 59 for the Trikke 3-wheeler. The Currus Panther is a love scooter from a Dualtron and a Weped. It's got distinctive looks and many motors internals. The Panther runs at a solid 50 miles per hour. We'll give the Panther a 5 out of 10 for performance. With a 35 amp hour battery, you've got similar range to a Dualtron Thunder. It gets a 4 out of 10 for range. It handles okay off-road, but you might get some wobble due to it not shipping with a steering damper. You'll definitely need to tame the Panther, and it gets a 5 out of 10 for handling. Power scooters are always fun, so it gets points for that, and some off-roading features as well. Not much else stands out during the riding experience of the Panther though. It gets a 5 out of 10 for fun factor. It's a pretty unique ride, and I think it would definitely be a cool scooter to own. In a sea of Dualtrons, the Panther will stand out. We'll give it a 6 out of 10 for cool factor. You can ride the Panther on most terrain, though it is a bit heavy for its power class. We'll give it a 6 out of 10 for versatility. I think the Panther does have a pretty striking design, definitely has a lot more going on than a typical Dualtron, so I give it a 6 out of 10 for looks. It's got a nice feature set, pretty standard for most power scooters. I would like to see a bit more here though. You can get some nice LEDs if you buy the kit, but maybe it should ship standard with the scooter. For features, we'll give it a 6 out of 10. Overall, the scooter has pretty standard quality. I think the frame and stem are definitely higher than most Dualtrons though. For quality, we'll give it a 6 out of 10. I do think that overall, the Currus Panther does have a pretty solid value for the package, and gives the Dualtron Thunder a run for its money. We'll give value a 6 out of 10 here. That gives the Currus Panther a total score of 56 points. Not bad at all. When we did the Weped SS review, I said that it was my favorite cyberpunk cruiser of 2020, and that still holds true. The Weped SS is stated to reach about 70 miles per hour, and likely top speed is in the 60s or so. We give it a 7 out of 10 for performance. It's powered by a massive 72 volts 45 amp hour battery. The Weped has enough range to let you ride all day long. We'll give it an 8 out of 10 for range. I'm honestly not really a fan of the handling with the square profiled kart tires. The SS I tried also didn't have a damper on it, which it could use, and it had quite jerky acceleration. We only give it a 2 out of 10 for handling. While the handling leaves something to be desired, it's still a fun ride with tons of power. The performance mainly props the fun rating up, and this gets a 7 out of 10 fun factor rating. With its distinctive looks and awesome performance, the Weped SS is definitely one cool ride. We give it a 9 out of 10 for cool factor. The big car tires may not do much for handling, but they actually do make it so you can ride on any terrain almost. There's also some attempt at water resistance, but it didn't work out too well from what I heard. We give this Weped SS a 7 out of 10 for versatility. Love it or hate it, the Weped definitely has a distinct look and an impressive amount of LED lights. Embrace the lights and venture forth on your LED chariot. We give the Weped SS a 9 for looks. We're definitely lacking some features here, but it's made up for by an obscene amount of LEDs. We give the Weped SS a 5 for features. Weped does seem like an overall high quality brand of scooters, but recently some issues have been popping up. I want to take a look at some of the newer models, but for now, we'll give the SS a quality score of 6 out of 10. The Weped SS definitely wasn't a cheap scooter at all, but you do get some performance and some looks. We give it a 4 out of 10 for value. I think if they included some of the aftermarket features in the scooter, it would score much higher. That gives the Weped SS a total score of 64 points. Pretty good. Next up is the Walkcar from Coco Motors. This tiny and whimsical PEV is small enough to be mistaken for a laptop and easily fit in a backpack. Performance is a 1. This category is all about speed and acceleration, and while the Walkcar feels crazy fast at 10 miles an hour, it only gets a 1 here. Range is a 1. We've got a small amount of range here of about 5 miles, which is plenty to get around office parks and malls, but it's not a ton. The Walkcar only scores a 1 for range. It does take some getting used to for sure, but after a while, you'll be able to maneuver the Walkcar with ease. And it's actually quite fun. The Walkcar scores a 5 for handling. There's just something super fun about riding a laptop with wheels. People are constantly taking it for rides around the warehouse. We can't stop thinking about it. For fun factor, it gets a 10 out of 10. Imagine the jealousy of your friends as you pull the Walkcar out of your backpack and slowly glide off into the distance. Being the most portable thing we've ever reviewed, the Walkcar is quite cool and scores a 9 out of 10 on the cool factor scale. While it's super tiny and you can easily bring it anywhere, you can't use it in a lot of situations. You're not going to be able to go off-roading or handle rough terrain at all. It gets a versatility of a 2 out of 10. For looks, honestly, it looks great. It's got a really nice build quality and materials. We give it a 10 out of 10 for looks. Features-wise, it's a laptop with wheels, without a keyboard or a screen. Maybe it will get a higher score if they did add a keyboard and a screen. Right now, it doesn't do much besides turn on and go. It gets a 2 out of 10 for features. The Walkcar is built with high-quality components with top-notch engineering. It might be one of the best PEVs, quality-wise, that I own. It gets a 9 out of 10 on the quality scale. While it is a fun and high-quality ride, the performance and versatility really drag down the value. It gets a value score of 2 out of 10. That gives the Walkcar a total score of 50 out of 100. The Turbowheel Phaeton is the e-wheels variant of the 11X, packed with features and range. For performance, people say that this is generally a 60 mph scooter, though real-world performance is probably in the mid-50s or so. We give the Phaeton a 6 out of 10 for performance. It's got a fairly large 72 volts, 35 amp hour battery pack. This is going to give you a ton of range, and more than a Dualtron Thunder. We give it a 7 out of 10 for range. Handling is a 6. It does ship with a really nice damper, which is needed to absorb all the wobbles, but besides that, it is quite heavy to move around. You can't deny the fun of riding a huge beast like the Phaeton around. We give the Phaeton a 4 out of 10 for fun factor. It could get a few more points here with more speed or better off-roading setup. Cool factor is a 5. It's a nice beast, but besides that, there's not a lot to it. We give it a 5 out of 10 for cool factor. You can ride the Phaeton in a wide variety of conditions, though the weight-to-power ratio is a little high. We give the Phaeton a 7 for versatility. It's really nice looking, but it's still just a fairly standard Titan scooter appearance. Personally, I'm looking for a few more distinctive features. This gets a 4 out of 10 for looks. It's got a pretty standard feature set, but it does ship with a really nice damper. We give it a 7 out of 10 for features. There has been some issues with the 11X and Phaeton quality. The neck recall and replacement is one example of quality gone wrong here. They're still iterating on it and making it better and better. We give it a 4 out of 10 for quality. I do think that the Phaeton offers fantastic value for the price. You've got a lot of power, you've got long range, decent features. We give it a 9 out of 10 for value. This gives the Turbowheel Phaeton a total score of 59 points. Moving on to the Apollo Ghost. The Apollo Ghost is Apollo's latest affordable dual-motor scooter for the masses. A 34 mph top speed gives us a 3 out of 10 for performance. An 18.2 Ah battery provides a decent amount of range for cruising, but we would like to see a little bit more watt-hours here in the future. We're looking at a 4 out of 10 for range. The Ghost handles like most mid-range scooters out there. We didn't have any major complaints and it seemed to handle fine at its top speed. It scores a 6 out of 10 for handling. Overall, it's a pretty fun scooter due to its dual motors and awesome suspension. Right now it comes in at about a 4, and more speed would help here, I think. The Ghost is a cool dual motor scooter, and there's not a lot of similarly sized package or price scooters that will be able to keep up with it. We give it a cool factor of 6 out of 10. The Apollo Ghost is lightweight for its power and has great suspension to tackle any road condition. It scores a 6 out of 10 for versatility. With its sleek body and nice design elements, the Ghost scores a solid 7 in the looks department. A pretty standard set of features gives the Ghost a 6 out of 10 for features. We're seeing fairly standard quality on the scooter, but what does stand apart is Apollo's excellent warranty and customer support. They might have the best service of any scooter seller. Value is fairly high for the price. Being a low-cost dual-motor scooter, we give it a 5 out of 10. This gives the Apollo Ghost a total score of 53 points. And finally, we have the Rion Thrust. This is Rion's latest model with advanced controllers for a fine-tuned throttle curve. It's a refined power scooter with the amazing curved thumbwheel throttle. The current best performing scooter on the market goes about 80 miles per hour and gets an 8 for performance. They're always pushing the envelope here, and I'm looking forward to seeing how fast they get in future years. Range is always about watt hours and controller efficiency. The Rion packs a very impressive 2,400 watt hours into its sleek frame, giving it a solid 6 for range. Handling is a 10. Rion makes the best handling machines by far. Everything from the stem stiffness to the sticky PMT tires that help you get really low make this machine handle really great. We give it a 10 out of 10 for handling. It's hard to find a more fun ride than riding the Rion at high speeds, with great handling and brakes. It's a really thrilling ride, and we give it a 10 out of 10 for fun factor. For cool factor, let's just say you got the fastest scooter on the planet. It's carbon fiber with advanced technologies. It's way cool, and we give it a 10 out of 10 for cool factor. We are missing the ability to handle rough off-roading and wet riding. Versatility takes a hit here, but I'm still riding my Rion every day. For versatility, we give it a 3 out of 10. For looks, yes, it looks amazing. The stunning, beautifully shaped carbon fiber frame with powder-coated swing arms just looks great. The Rion is a 10 out of 10 here in my opinion. The Rion curved thumbwheel and tunable controller features with an upcoming app help prop up the feature score, but it doesn't compare to features of other scooters necessarily out of the box. You'll have to do that legwork yourself. The Rion gets a 6 out of 10 for features. It's the sum of all of the expensive, high-end components. It's got the best brakes, the best tires, the best folding mechanism. It all adds up to a really high-quality machine. We give it a 9 out of 10 for quality. Yes, the Rion is super expensive, but I do think you can get really good value out of the cost. It uses top-of-the-line components, and these components definitely don't come cheap. For value, we give it a 8 out of 10. So the Rion Thrust comes in with a total of 81 points, our highest rated PEV to date, and we'll be interested to see if any PEVs can take the top spot from Rion in the next year. While I love the Rion, more competition is good for all of us. My hope is that some company steps up to take the top spot from Rion, but I'm not holding my breath for that. The Rion RE90 is also up here with a similar score. It might get 1 more point for range and 1 less point for handling. That's all we got for this episode on the best PEVs of 2020. I really hope you all enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss some of the awesome things we have planned in 2021. We'll see you all next year.